Greetings loyal subscribers and honoured guests. I'm afraid that I've dropped the ball a bit when it comes to getting new episodes of Covermount Chaos Zzapped The Next Generation out in a timely manner, and as a result I now have a bit of catching up to do. So for the next 3 Wednesdays there will be episodes covering issues 11, 12 and 13, which will bring us up to date for the time being. After that I want to make a special episode of Compilation Station about the Evercade C64 Collection 1, before I start up the final season of Cover Tape Chaos Zzapped. So there is a ton of Commodore 64 content coming your way on the channel from now, most likely until the end of the year. So then, let's pick up where I left off with the games and demos that came on the cover mount belonging to issue 11. I actually played and captured the footage of all these months ago, but I had to go back and give them some more time to refresh my memory of all of them. We begin with a full-size vertical shoot-'em-up in the form of Cruiser X-79 from Richard Bayliss and TND. As with most games of this type, you pilot your ship alone against hordes of enemy fighters and ground installations. There are a few different power-ups that you can collect to make your life a bit easier for a while, including a very useful shield denoted by an S, improved firepower denoted by an M, and bombs denoted by a B. You can carry 3 bombs at a time, and if you try and pick up another one when you already have the full amount, then they explode there and then with a screen-wiping blast. I did appreciate being able to tweak the options before starting the game, as having the option to auto-fire by holding the fire button down was greatly appreciated. When I played the game for the first time I also increased my continues all the way to up to 9, which still wasn't enough for me to complete the game. For my refresher I just left it on the default setting of 3. I really enjoyed my time with this one. The scrolling is really nice and smooth, with no glitching or flicker at all, and the controls are responsive. My only small gripe is that the pew pew sound of your lasers does get in the way of the fantastic music that plays, and I would prefer an option to turn sound effects off completely and just enjoy the tunes. Other than that though, I really liked Cruiser X-79 a lot. Our next game really does highlight just how late this episode is, because it's Quasimodo's Christmas Caper. The presentation of this one is top notch, with some delightful snow effects and neat high-res sprites. At first glance this looked like the sort of game that I would really enjoy, but it is let down by some questionable collision detection, I'm afraid. Not really between the enemies and Quasimodo, but between Quasi and the snowballs you're supposed to be collecting in order to finish the level. There were multiple occasions when I walked right over a snowball and it just wouldn't be collected, which grew quite frustrating and led to my time running out several times. Should this happen, then a killer snowman is unleashed who chases you around the level until you either manage to finish it or you perish at his chill touch. With a bit more refinement this could be great, but it feels unfinished here. Next up is a preview of a game called Scout the Stray. Once again this one features some really nice high-res sprites, especially Scout, the doggy character you control. What you have here is essentially Pac-Man, except that you are collecting bones instead of dots, and there are no power pellets. Instead there are a range of different power-ups that can be collected by touching a rubber ball that changes colour, including a score multiplier and incapacitating all of your enemies. You also have a bark button to scare away nasty men from the pound who are trying to catch you, but after you have used it, it needs to recharge. This is a decent enough game, but the whole concept of Pac-Man feels incredibly antiquated these days, so it's not very exciting. At the moment there is no sound at all, which doesn't help, and the mazes could do with a bit more variety as well. It just lacks a bit of spice. The Capcom fighting games have been featured on these cover mounts several times already, and there was another demo of SNK vs Capcom with this issue. This still looks mightily impressive, borrowing the visual style from all of the SNK fighters that were released on the Neo Geo Pocket Color. I picked 2 characters that I knew pretty well, Ryu from Capcom and Mai from SNK, and fought a few rounds with each of them, and their special moves all seem to be present and correct. The presentation between the fights is all there too, and very nicely done, with great renditions of the music. The fights themselves are completely silent at the moment though. This game was provided as a cartridge file, so I am hoping there is still enough memory to include sound and music in the fights, and that it just hasn't been completed yet. If the developer manages to fit all of it into the final game, even if it does have to be cart only, it will be a fantastic technical achievement. After this comes my least favourite game of the bunch, called Pieces 2. This is a simple puzzle game where you have to slide different pieces around, matching them up and eliminating them. If you don't plan your moves properly, then you can accidentally leave one of a type behind and end up not being able to complete a puzzle. I'm sure that there must be a quick restart button that you can press if you do get stuck, but I wasn't sure what it was and ended up waiting for the time limit to expire before trying again. Puzzle games do get quite frustrating for me once I get stuck, and I give up rather quickly. This one isn't original enough to keep me very interested for long. The background music is decent though. So that is all the games and demos that we got with issue 11. Around this time we also very sadly lost Oliver Frey, and there was a great tribute picture of him on the Covermount as well. As for my favourite thing this time, it has to go to Cruiser X79, as it was the most polished, complete and fun feeling game included here. The others showed promise, but the polish wasn't quite there. I expect if I went and found the final versions of these games, all of my issues will have been solved already. Thanks for watching this episode. Like I said at the start, the next episode will be out 1 week from this one as I catch up with everything. See you then, and in the meantime, take care.